Hey everyone, welcome back. We're inside again today because we had Snowmageddon over the weekend. How did you guys make out if you were affected by that? We didn't get nearly the amount of snow that they were originally forecasting. Originally we were supposed to get 18 plus, and I think we got about 10 and a half, and then we got some sleet. And I'm not really sure how I feel about that. We definitely could have used 20 inches of snow to help out in our drought. But we still have a lot of snow on the ground from the last couple of snowfalls, and this would have taken a long time to melt since we're going to get really, really cold the next couple of weeks. And I'm not sure I want that much snow hanging around for that much longer. I really do want to start getting out into the garden and doing some things. Not planting, but because the last snow we had was really heavy and wet, there's some broken branches on some shrubs, and I would like to get out there and start pruning those. They won't be damaged by the upcoming cold because these are plants that bloom on new growth. So if cutting back some of the broken branches kills that particular branch, it should be okay. The new growth, as I said, would come from the bottom. But we're going to be socked in like this now for at least a couple of weeks, and I'm not going to be able to get out and do anything. So coming to you today, again, from the inside, I'm going to be sharing with you a garden design for a garden center customer. She came in a few months back, well, I want to say early December or maybe even late November. She obviously is local, and she just happened to catch a video of mine on YouTube, and she came in to see if it was me. Well, obviously it's me. So she came in right before Christmas, and I was working, but I was out doing deliveries. So she really wanted my help because anybody at the garden center could help her with her designs and her ideas. So my manager gave her my email address, and she contacted me just a couple of weeks ago. I spent some time at her house last week or 2 weeks ago. Quite a bit of time. I think it was there for about 3.5, 4 hours, both outside and then talking with her inside, looking at some pictures, some ideas. She actually did a couple of designs, and I don't really think she needed my help, but she does. She insists that she needed my help, and actually she offered for me to do a video on this garden design for her. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to share first a couple of pictures that gives you an idea of what the border that we're going to be working on looks like now. I don't think it's original to the house. The house is 23 years old. I think the original residents must have come along afterwards and added this border. Everything is pretty much coming out. It's all really old. Some of it not in the best of shape, as you can see by these 3 juniper. I believe they're junipers. They're some kind of evergreen. They're half dead. A lot of the stuff in here is, as I said, old roses of Sharon, which they tend to get really big. So I think that's probably why some of these evergreens are showing signs of dying off in the back. They've just been shaded out. At the end here, there is a hydrangea tree, which has kind of been growing out, probably because it's shaded out in the back by this tree. There's also a weeping tree here. So all that's coming out. They have a vegetable garden here. That's staying. So what we're going to be designing is from this weeping tree all the way down to this tree where, I don't know if you can see, there's a birdhouse in there. There's a burning bush here. That's going to be coming out. These are the roses of Sharon. There's a little PJM rhododendron in here she planted recently. That will be staying. There's a couple of yews. This tree will be staying. Let's go to the next picture. And then you can see closer. There's a little bit of a retaining wall. And these are the 3 evergreens that are going to be coming out. The hydrangea tree, roses of Sharon, burning bush, that weeping tree, which to me almost looks, it's just really odd. It almost looks like a spider. But anyway, so everything's coming out here. And you can see they want privacy. They sit a little bit below their neighbors here and a little bit, so the road kind of curves in towards their front yard, their house. So these houses, as they curve, they kind of look down into their backyard. Now, the neighbor does have some privacy here with the Leland cypress. But so anyway, we're going to be designing this entire area. The back here, I want to say that's west. Off to the left is more south. So The sun will be coming overhead in the active growing season. So this bed will get full sun, except down at the end where there's two huge trees which are not coming out. So this is my first attempt at the garden border. The measurements here are, the whole thing is almost 75 feet long, but we're only doing up to that burning bush for now, which is just about right here. So that is about 22 and 17. It's about 40 feet long. Down this end from the fence to the end of this little retaining wall is 15 feet. Right about where that hydrangea was is 12 feet. Right where the burning bush was also 12 feet. So this part from the hydrangea down is 22 feet. And then from the hydrangea to the vegetable garden is 17 feet. So she mentioned she wanted Spring Grove arborvitaes and Forever Goldie arborvitaes. Now, since when she showed me, she had actually done a design herself. She had the Spring Grove arborvitae down this end, and she had the Forever Goldie down this end, so reversed. But because the Spring Grove arborvitae can be wider, I moved them down this end where the bed is slightly wider. So instead of 12 feet wide down here, it's 15. I do think Spring Grove arborvitae are going to be a little bit wider than it says on the tag from Proven Winners, but she really does seem to like those. So I have two of them here. Whoops, not that big. So, and I've kind of offset them a little bit. So instead of having them in a row, in order to make use of this tight space, I've kind of got one forward and one backwards a little bit. And then I have the 3 Forever Goldie or similar down here. She also likes blue foliage, but I kind of talked her out of blue spruce because of all of the problems blue spruces have in our area. So for a little bit of blue foliage, I do have a blue shadow 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 in here. Now it's not going to be evergreen, but it is truly a blue-leaved shrub. And I do have a little bit of a spreading blue juniper here that will kind of spill over the retaining wall. It's going to have to be one of the smaller growing ones. Some junipers can get quite large, so we're going to pick a smaller juniper for here. Obviously, she has to approve all of this, but she also mentioned she likes Weigela, she likes the tiny white 9-bark, low-scape snowfire, oak leaf hydrangea, and because she does want to plant for pollinators, I have tucked in here a couple of summer sweet. The My Monet Purple Effect stays quite small, so I feel like we probably can fit most things here as long as the Spring Grove arborvitaes stay a little bit small. So just wanted to pop in again and talk a little bit more about what the client wants here. It's a long border, and first and foremost, she wants privacy. She wants a row of evergreens against what is an existing fence that will also be replaced. She doesn't want a mixed border though in the background. She just wants strictly privacy, evergreens, needled evergreens, because I did suggest tucking in a laurel here and there, but she does want strictly needled evergreens as the privacy border in the background. So that's why we chose, and she does like gold foliage. Several times she mentioned either Ember Waves or Forever Goldie arborvitae, so that's what we're going to attempt to use. It also, you know, it depends on what you can get in your area. I personally have never seen Forever Goldie or Ember Waves for sale locally. Now that doesn't mean you can't get them. I shop extensively in my area and online, and I have not seen Forever Goldie for sale. And also, most of what you're going to get if you're not a landscaper are 3-gallon size containers, 5 if you're lucky. Forever Goldies are a little bit slow to grow based on my experience. I did suggest American Pillar. She doesn't think they're thick enough or full enough for privacy. You would have to use more than you would have to use of the Forever Goldie or the Spring Grove arborvitae. But anyway, she also really liked the Spring Grove arborvitae. She mentioned them several times. Again, I've never seen them sold locally. Again, doesn't mean you can't get them. The garden center where I work, if a customer wants something, we will attempt to find it. But again, most of the time it's going to be a smaller specimen, but we'll see what we can find for her. But anyway, so strictly evergreens, needled evergreens along the fence for privacy. And she spoke a lot about plants for pollinators. So we are going to be using a lot of perennials that are great for pollinators. And she also spoke a lot about 4 seasons of interest. So I'm also going to tuck in smaller evergreens, kind of as like the lowest level. Personally, I think with a row of evergreens that are going to get as tall as the Forever Goldie and as tall as the Spring Grove, you kind of need a mid-level. Most of the plants that she spoke about are rather small, dwarf almost. So, I'll tuck 1 or 2 things in here that might get a little bit taller to give that kind of like the layered effect, not just front to back, but also side to side. But anyway, so I just wanted to pop in and tell you a little bit more about what she's looking for here. And as I said, this was my first attempt. I did make some changes after I gave myself a few days to think about it. Usually when I do a design, that's what I try to do. I'll do an initial design, I'll let it sit for a few days, mull things over. Things come into my mind when I'm not even thinking about it that make more sense, so that's what I did here. So here was my final plan, and the customer really did like this. I switched things around a little bit. So I separated out the Sugartina Crystallina Summer Sweet because I didn't want, originally I had the Summer Sweet in the back and then the My Monet Perfect Purple Effect Weigela up front. But because this isn't a really wide border, I didn't want things on top of each other. So I separated them out so that we could fit everything in here, because again, I do feel like the Spring Grove Arborvitae may get a little bit wider than the information states. And I also tucked another Summer Sweet back in here. I have 3 Little Devil or Tiny Wine. She really does like the Tiny Wine. Similar, or they're both very, very similar. 3 to 5 feet tall and wide with the dark foliage. So we have 3 of those here in front of this Forever Goldie. Down this end we have Gatsby Glowball, Oak Leaf Hydrangea, because I feel like with that one tree that's just off to the left here, this might get a little bit shady in the afternoon, and probably as they get more towards fall, I would think. It depends. It's kind of tough at this time of the year to know, and I'm not familiar with the property where exactly the sun is going to be, but just in case. And we have the Blue Shadow Fothergilla, again for the blue interest that she was looking for. Kept the spreading blue juniper here. We have some Veronica in here. She mentioned several times Veronica. I think she really does like Veronica. Some purple bee balm. There's a couple here. There's another couple here. I have Agastaki. Some penstemon in the back here. She also mentioned that she liked grasses. She mentioned grasses a lot because she likes blue as an accent color in the garden. These are Blonde Ambition grass, which really is blue when you see it. Let's look at spring now, because like I said, the first attempt that I showed you was in summer, but let's take a look at spring. So you can see we do have some things flowering here for early season pollinators. We have the Phlox stolonifera, or like a blue moon phlox, have those peppered in here, and creeping phlox. I think she had some bulbs in here. She mentioned a couple of times that she had planted bulbs at different places. I can't remember if there are bulbs in here or not, but at least for shrub interest, we will have the Blue Shadow Fothergilla blooming. This software shows the penstemon blooming in spring. I guess they kind of do bloom late May, but I usually think of penstemon more as a summer bloomer, but I just wanted to share with you what will be blooming in here in the spring. Let's take a look at autumn. And we're going to get some late season color here between the Oak Leaf Hydrangea and the Fothergilla. And then we have sedum blooming September. They usually bloom starting around September, late August, September. So great for the pollinators late in the season. And then let's take a look at the winter interest in winter. I mean, obviously we're going to have winter interest with the backdrop of evergreens, but this is where I stuck in some Anna's Magic Ball here and there, so that she didn't just have a row of evergreens for winter interest. She's also going to have the Anna's Magic Ball, and if she can find one of those smaller spreading junipers to creep over the wall, she'll also have that here for winter interest. And I don't know why the software always keeps sedum evergreen And our climate sedum is not going to be evergreen, but like I said, she will still have the winter interest with everything else going on in here. So I also did extend this border for her all the way down to the far left end. Initially, the design was only up to that burning bush that is coming out, but I felt like it was a little bit unfinished to me. So let's take a look now at what I added that takes this landscape all the way to the end. So here's the extension of the privacy border. I started out with adding another Spring Grove arborvitae just for continuity. I feel like she needed it down here. Some sweet spire for their shade tolerance, and once established they'll be able to handle the dry shade that is going to be underneath here because of these mature trees. Also beautiful spring blooms, and I tucked in a couple of Virginia bluebells over here for the early pollinators. That's completely up to her. Let's take a look in summer. Some more beautiful flowers with the brandywine viburnum, the oak leaf hydrangea. Late summer, she'll get interest with the Fall in Love sweetly anemone and the Joe Pye weed. She's going to get some beautiful autumn color from a lot of the shrubs in here, particularly this brandywine viburnum, but as well the oak leaf hydrangea and the sweet spire. And then finally for winter, she's still going to have beautiful winter interest with the evergreens that are here, including the Spring Grove, the PJM, the 2 U's that are existing here, and the 2 gold dust 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲 that I tucked in here for their dry shade tolerance, and they will definitely brighten up this shady area with the gold flecks that they have on their leaves. So that is the first of my garden designs for what I hope will be a busy season in that respect. I think it turned out well. The customer obviously liked it. As I said, she's already approved it and she's really excited to get going on this. Now, this is a garden plan that she will be planting. Obviously, I don't own my own landscaping company. I do plans for the garden center and for customers who are able to plant their own gardens. Although she did say her husband was very excited when he saw this and he's already ready to hire somebody to help her plant all these plants. She does have another couple of areas where I'll be doing some plants for her, but this is the biggest one. So that's why I wanted to share this one with you. And I am appreciative that she suggested that. Let me know what you think. How do you think it turned out? Is there anything that you would do differently? Thanks for coming along. Thanks for watching. Stay warm in this crazy cold weather we're having if you're affected by that. And hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Bye.